Welcome everyone to the Planet Jerf podcast. I am your host, Jerf de Salsa. This is episode 12 of Planet Jerf. Big news this week. Just got alerted that we have reached 250 downloads. Oh my god. Imagine the impact, the social impact of 250 people going to McDonald's is McDonald's plural McDonald's or is it McDonald's? I don't know. But 250 downloads. Thank you very much for listening. I'm working on trying to lengthen the pod, trying to be a little bit more organized about what I talk about in the day's events, and maybe trying to stretch out a little bit of some of the things that I'm up to. Go get a little bit of a deeper dive into the life of Jerf, and I'm hoping that will engage. And I don't know if 250 downloads is from 250 different people, or if it's just one person. Maybe it's my sister, maybe it's a cousin, just downloading the thing multiple times and sharing with whoever's in their general vicinity. But I do appreciate it. This past week was pretty eventful. I went to my middle child stories drama class. I went to my middle child's drama class because they invited one parent, and I was the chosen parent to attend. And I thought I was going to go in and hot dog it because I did a little bit of improv. I did a little bit of improv. If you're unfamiliar with my background, I've dabbled in improv from 1997 to 2005. I was also in the FUBAR TV series for 30 seconds, streamed directly to the Trailer Park Boys streaming app, and also I was in the background of Eagleheart, season 2, episode 4, The Blues. If you pause it, you can see me standing in the background. So yeah, I wouldn't call myself a pro, but I'm as close as a pro as you can go. So I was walking in there like Gosling, like I thought I was going to. I thought they were gonna know that they were dealing with a professional, and I did okay. I did all right in the it's a drama slash dancing slash singing, and I kind of blew it on the dancing and singing, but on the drama I was pretty decent. I was halfway decent. They had us doing tongue twisters, and and the tongue twister was amicably I balustraded on the balcony, inexplicably mimicking him hiccuping. And yeah, I said that right there. One take. Call me one take. One take. Jack is what they call me in the biz, and I thought I was doing pretty good until a young Timothée Chalamet-esque child came up to the teacher and was like, Mrs. Jones. His voice wasn't that, but he was like, Mrs. Jones. He was 5, but he sounded, Mrs. Jones, amicably balustrading on the balcony, inexplicably mimicking him hiccuping, and everyone just clapped, and I could just see the dollar signs running through his parents' eyes as his child just knocked it out of the park. So I was okay at that. There was an exercise where they had all of the one of the kids, which happened to be my child, was hosting a party, and then everyone who showed up to the party had to ring a doorbell and then make an emotional choice when they came in. And so when I came in sleepy, sleepy, and she got it right away. The teacher was like, "Wow, that was a very strong emotional choice, and you conveyed it with both a sound and an action. That's what we want to see in the class." So, did my part. I can't, can't rub my hands. But a lot of people don't know this, but I was a theater major for my first week of university, and and um, I dropped out because I felt one I there was an exercise where we were in the drama class. And they asked everyone to take off their socks, and I was not down with that at all. I was a little bit self conscious about my little piglets, my little hobbit feet, and so I dropped out. I was like, I have a no nudity clause, and I guess maybe that changed the direction of history, because who knows where I would have been had I stuck it out in University of Calgary drama. I could be I could have been a contender. I could have been on courtside at the New York Knicks game beside Jack Nicholson, but I was self conscious about the fur on my toes, and so I didn't like it one bit, and changed the course of history. I went to in other news. I guess a reoccurring segment on this podcast is my forays. I'm sorry. I'm just doing a stretch. In other news, this week we had a little bit of an incident at McDonald's. So we went to the McDonald's by our house, and we decided to make it interesting for our children, to give them an activity. We thought we would eat in the McDonald's rather than just drive through the McDonald's. And so we brought the kids inside, and one of my daughters is like, can we order on the giant iPad, like the big iPads that they have out front? And I was like, sure, let's make this as complicated as possible. Let's draw this activity out as long as we can. So daughter goes on the iPad. I'm trying to figure out how to do custom orders because they all want certain things. And in the meantime, out of my eye shot, Jackie sees around the corner that there's a group of hooligans and they're pushing each other, and it starts to get pretty rough. And her spidey sense starts tingling, and her fight or flight response kicks in. And she is just like, we got to get out right now. I think there's gonna be a gang shootout happening, and so we're just like, okay, let's go, kids. I can't explain, but we got to go. And one of my son was like, oh, I want a balloon, Dad. And I was like, no time for balloons. And he's like, no, I got a balloon. Then he dropped his balloon. And I heard the giggling of the hooligans as we ran out the McDonald's, and we hop into a car, and beside us there is what I would describe as a gangbanger car, like a very, very shiny BMW. And I'm like, oh, we narrowly dodged a bullet, maybe literally, by leaving that McDonald's. So we're like, kids, we're not going to disappoint you. We're going to take you to another McDonald's. And so we drive to Airdrie, which is Airdrie is like, if you're not familiar with Calgary's the shaft of the greater Calgary area of the GCA, and Airdrie's the taint, because it's not Balzac, it's in between. So the taint of the GCA is Airdrie, for better or worse. And so we drive to Airdrie. It's the nearest town to us. And we go into their McDonald's, and it seems pretty normal. There's like a couple of kind of toothless, like, meth kids in the corner, but they're keeping to themselves. And then there's a trio of girls eating their McDonald's, and they're bumping a balloon like a like a volleyball type of thing, and they're okay too. And we're like, okay, we think this is small town. It should be pretty safe. Kids sit down. I go to order. First of all, the trio of girls, they bump their balloon into my face, and they almost knocked my glasses off. And they're like, "Sorry, sir," and I couldn't react or anything like that. I'm trying to be cool, and so I was like, "Yeah, it's fine," even though I was really worried. I was really worried about my sunglasses getting busted. But anyways, they left, and then inexplicably, which is the word of the day on the podcast, a Somalian teenager shows up, and I'm only mentioning the ethnicity of the child because it factors into the next part of the story. So this kid shows up, he goes to the corner of the McDonald's, and then the two meth head teenager kids in the corner pop up, and they go and they charge at the Somalian kid with a hockey stick. and they were like, "Time for your weekly beating," and we're like, we got to get out of here quick. Like we're gonna now, we've left the gangbang situation. Now we're gonna witness a hate crime. We got to protect our kids from whatever's going to go on. We'll intervene from afar. We'll call the police, or maybe not. We'll just hope that the manager intervenes. But as we're leaving, we noticed that the kids kind of high-fived each other, and it was a running joke that this kid would get the beats. And so we left, and moral of the story is none of these McDonald's seem to be safe places to chill out at. But I don't know. That was I guess that was a freaky deaky type of situation, and but the crazy part is that later on Jackie was looking at the news, and we were wondering if there's anything afoot in our feet and inexplicably are making an appearance again. Call back to the earlier story. But Jackie was checking if there's anything afoot in our neighborhood. And earlier that day, down the way, there was actually a gang-related targeted shooting in a neighboring neighborhood near the McDonald's. And so there is a possibility that those kids were gangbangers or whatever, or maybe they're. But who knows? Well, I'm not one to judge, but it was a pretty tense situation, and I think from now on we'll be sticking to the drive-through, and maybe that's something that you guys got to learn too. Listening out there is that maybe the drive-through is the safest thing to do. We watched another cult documentary about the Raelians, and I oftentimes think, oh, hey, maybe I should start a cult. a lot of people are like, Jeff, I think you could start a cult, and I think about like, what are the bennies gonna be? Maybe one of the bennies could be eggs Benny. Maybe every day there's a nice brunch included in our cult, and that's one of the things that it convinces people to follow me on the spaceship out of here. But we watched the documentary on the Raelians, and Rael had a wild. I think he was the first dude. Rael is the leader of this cult, and the basic gist of it is that he was walking around in a field, and some aliens came down and talked to him, and then he was like, "Oh, I guess I'm the leader." He told a bunch of other people, and he had a man bun at the time, and I think that he was so confident having a man bun that women were just like, we need to join this cult and constantly have sex with this fellow, and so he just started this crazy sex cult, and they cloned someone, and he's now running the cult somewhere else. So we watched this cult, and I got my idea for my cult, which would be unlimited eggs Benny if you join. It's kind of like HelloFresh. I think HelloFresh, and I'm not sponsored. This is not a sponsorship. HelloFresh is not sponsoring the Planet Jerf podcast this week, but it does feel like HelloFresh puts the same amount of pressure on on you when you leave that the Church of Scientology puts pressure on, like Leah Remini when she left. like HelloFresh will call us on we cancel we so back it up a little bit. Back it up a little bit. I have a lot of uncles and aunts, and I discovered that if you if you use their address as your address and use different addresses every time at HelloFresh, you can get a free box of food. And so for like a 6-month period, I was just creating new email. I was creating new email addresses and using new addresses of my aunts and uncles and getting boxes of food delivered to these varying places. And I ate for free for 6 months, and then and then eventually I was like, I got to cancel this. I ran out of uncles and aunties to use for my free HelloFresh, and then HelloFresh would call every single day. they would just call us and pressure us to rejoin, and then they would be like, well, maybe we'll separate you from your family, and maybe they like HelloFresh has their own set of toughs and enforcers and everything else, and it really is like leaving a cult. But most recently, they offered free breakfast for life, and I'm like, maybe I should join again. Like, that sounds interesting to me. And so yeah, I'm probably gonna sign up again, which just goes to show that HelloFresh is probably the most the most dangerous religion out there right now. They just have a faceless. They have a faceless. Their leader is just a guy wearing one of the boxes, just like a Pope's hat. And once you're in, it's like HelloFresh is like Hotel California. You can check out, but you can never leave. So we watched that Raelian documentary, and it was really good. It was a really good documentary. It had more nudity than you would expect on a Netflix show. So that's and the few dudes hanging down. and lots of boobies, I guess, if you're looking for that. So the Raelian documentary, I think it's called Rail the Alien Prophet. And so that was one thing that we watched this week. I'm trying to think if we watched anything else. I took my son came up to me the other day, and he brought down a lint roller, and he just started rolling my beard, and then he said, "Danny," all my children sound like Steve Urkel, but he was like, "Danny, you're clean now." And I took a look at the lint brush, and all of the discarded dog turds that we'd use the lint brush for to pick up around the house were all captured on that lint brush, and now they had been rubbed into my face, and so that was not pleasant, and I cursed my child for doing that. I thought that wasn't a very cool thing to do. And today my son wanted to eat Takis before eating his supper. My son is addicted to Takis. He's addicted to the very spicy rolled Dorito chip that is out there, and he wanted to eat Takis before eating his supper, and I refused. And then so my son said, "Well, I'm gonna bomb your car," which I was like, that's a little too far. I think I need to look at those YouTube parental control things, see what the Paw Patrol or Blippi is recommending you if you're gonna pull a bombing of my car. So I thought that was mean. And then my son said that he was gonna whoop my ass the other day. He said it like he was stone cold, and that wasn't cool either. But yeah, he lint rolled my face, and I was not impressed with any of it. I was just really I was not expecting it, and I don't know where he learned the behavior. It's funny, like he had a play date with one of his friends, and I was talking with his buddy's parents, and they were like, is it okay if he, like, maybe one day he could play, like, maybe a little video game, like a Mario? And he's like, does Oxford play video games? And I was like, well, yeah, like, I let him play, I let him play Mortal Kombat with me. Like, obviously, I don't teach him the fatalities. Like, his little tiny fingers can't handle the button combinations. But when he's ready, he will know. He will know. He picks terrible characters too. He's always General Shao, which he calls General Sao, which is very, very confusing. But I need to correct him. I need to fix this before he goes to kindergarten. but so that was one of the things that happened to me this week. And then the other thing that happened was I don't know. That's probably it. Trying to think if there's anything from the past that I want to bring up. Oh, I just think there's a lot of talk. this is my moral for the end of this episode, is that there's a lot of talk about how old the presidential candidates are this time around. And I'm like, well, that's a little bit ageist to say just because you're a certain age, you can't handle the presidency. But I do think that whoever is elected president this next go around, they should introduce a new feature where whenever you want to send foreign aid, they should introduce a new feature like. They should introduce a new feature when you're president. Whenever you want to send like weapons or foreign aid to a different country, you should have to solve a CAPTCHA. Like you should have to prove that you're not a robot. And so like I think that Biden or Trump or whoever would have to. There should be like a grid of pictures, and it should just say like, please select the ones that are motorcycles. Before you send nuclear warheads to Ukraine or whatever you're gonna do, and I feel like just implementing that step is gonna solve a lot of the world's problems. Because I feel like if I have to prove that I'm not a robot by selecting every picture with a bridge in it to get into my browser's premium account, then at the very least, the President of the United States should have to click a few little pictures before he sends $10 billion to Israel. So that's my big recommendation. That's the end of this Planet Jerf podcast. And looky, we made it to almost 25 minutes. So this has to be considered a big win in my books. But peace out, Jerflings. Talk to you later. Bye.